Good afternoon and welcome to this month's webinar, The 4 Points of Focus, the only business compass you will ever need. Today's presentation is hosted by Wendy Roberts and North Star Strategic Partners. First, a little bit about North Star. We are a team of business strategists focused on helping your business increase profits. We ask the questions that you may not think to ask and examine the issues that may not always be at a surface level. North Star has helped numerous customers achieve, grow, and maintain prosperous businesses over the years. Our speaker for today is Wendy Roberts. Wendy prides herself on creating winning strategies while helping her customers maximize their resources and their profits. As a CPA, she knows her way around corporate financial. As an entrepreneur, startup CFO, and CEO for North Star Strategic Partners, a former corporate executive, Wendy offers a broad insight into finding solutions to help her customers achieve exceptional growth and financial success. She has a bachelor's degree in accounting from Indiana University, MBA courses at University of Tampa, and years of experience counseling customers on financial and profitable success. Wendy is originally from the Midwest and was raised in a working class family. One of her most favorite and cherished hobbies is cycling. She never fails to miss a weekend cycling in the Bay Area and taking in the panoramic views. So a couple of house rules. All questions will be answered towards the end of the webinar. We will be sending you a survey and the recording to the email address that you used to register. All right, let us hear it from Wendy.
Thank you, Shai, and thank you for all of you joining this webinar today. I'm going to be spending about another 30 to 45 minutes just going over the 4 points of focus, but also a little bit more in depth and give you a little bit of background on how we got here. So again, thank you for all of those. I see there are several people here in our webinar room from around the country. Thank you and welcome. And we actually have a couple of folks from international. So we appreciate you and thank you for spending time with us. So let me tell you a little bit about my why, and maybe I need to give you a little bit of history around that. So I started looking at what I wanted to do after I retired from corporate, which was in late 2018. I've been a finance executive for almost a couple of decades. And before that, I had been doing some consulting work and et cetera. And I wanted to really think about what I wanted to do after I left corporate. So I started looking at my passion and what I really wanted to contribute in the remaining years that I have on this beautiful planet. And I was thinking to myself, I really want to help small business owners. I've been a business owner myself. This is my fourth company. I've sold a couple of them. So I wanted to really get back to those roots. And I still knew I had some gas in the tank. And I really wanted to help small business owners in a way that could help flourish not only my passion and my desire, but also those dreams that small business owners have. So I started doing some CFO consulting work, and I started looking at what is it that really makes a company, not just a good company, but a great company. And I started looking at those years I had as an entrepreneur myself, and then working those years in corporate. And I really started thinking about what is it that makes companies like HP that started in a garage, or Microsoft that started out with two geeky guys, become multi-billion-dollar companies. What is it? And so I started looking at that, making a lot of notes, thinking about my career over the years, and I came up with the 4 points of focus. So I started using that within my own consulting practice as a CFO. And it really grew. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I might have something here. Then I started using it on my customers. And to give you an early example, the book that just came out, The Only Business Compass You Will Ever Need, There's an example in there, a story of Jack the Explorer. And Jack the Explorer really is a company that I actually consulted with. The names have been changed, of course, but it's a company that was right around 800,000. And I was able to consult with that company to 3.4 million in revenue in a very relatively short period of time, about 2 years. So I started looking at how can I make this more formalized with this working. So I developed a company called North Star Strategic Partners. I went from a sole proprietorship to North Star Strategic Partners. Now, getting to my why, North Star being, I want to help every business owner achieve their dreams of being their North Star or their Polaris, the brightest star in the sky. Strategic, applying the 4 points of focus, which I'm going to talk to you about here in just a few minutes. And partner, or partners, is that we partner with you on that journey. So North Star Strategic Partners was very deliberate about how I wanted to send the message around the only business compass you will ever need. Now, this started in late 2018, and we are now here in January of 2024. Been a 5-year journey. We have, again, the new book out, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later. Now, the 4 points of focus, let me give you a little bit of a summary of what it's about. Obviously, as we work with each individual company, we tailor that message. But overall, it's these 4 key areas: marketing strategies, financial structure and growth, operational excellence, and people and team building. Those are the 4 key areas that I looked at to say, hey, what is it that makes not just a good company, but a great company? The HPs, the Microsofts, the Veritas, the VMwares. What is it that makes them these multi-billion-dollar companies? And we can do the same thing for small business owners. So let's start with marketing strategies. And I will tell you, let's go back 1 slide, please. I will tell you that the colors mean something as well. And in the book, I describe what all of those mean. It was very deliberate about choosing those colors. I did a lot of research about what those colors meant and how I wanted to fold it into the 4 points of focus. So red, meaning good luck, or bullseye in this example. So marketing strategies. Now, websites and SEO and all of that is very, very, very important. But if you don't know who you need to talk to, it doesn't matter how good your website is or how good your SEO is. You have to know who's your customer. Who's that ideal customer? The second thing you need to know is, how do I communicate with that customer? How do I address their pain points that they want to do business with me? And then the third is, what does it cost me to do it? You need to think about a budget. How much of my revenue that I take in do I want to allocate to my marketing? Those 3 key elements set up everything else for your marketing. The second is financial structure and growth. As I alluded to in my story, in my introduction, I started out as a sole proprietor. I wanted to make sure that the concepts that I was teaching and mentoring with business owners was actually working before I spent money to incorporate with an attorney and the type of entity going forward. So financial structure is very, very important. Not only is it important for tax purposes, but it's important for how you want to carry forward with your business. And eventually when you want to be able to sell that business, it makes a difference in how you structure it. And then the growth, profitability. Unfortunately, 87%, or roughly in that percentage, 87% of businesses are not profitable, or they're just barely making it. Just barely making it for all the effort that you put in to having a small business. You want to be profitable. You want to make money. You want to have a lifestyle that you enjoy. So you want to build it for growth, scalability, profitability, and then you want to sustain it over a period of time. And you want to increase the value so that at which time when you're ready to leave that business, you have a nice multiple or value or what we call a valuation when you're ready to sell or exit. The third area is operational excellence, which I'm going to say is super uber important. And many small business owners don't pay attention to this. So think about it like this: automated systems, artificial intelligence, AI is going to drastically change many businesses. And if you don't get on the bandwagon, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss the opportunities to create more profits for your business. You want to automate as much as possible. I call it the 3 Ps: people, process, programs, applications. They all have to talk to each other to make sure that you are driving the best forward in order for your company to achieve better net profit. That's what it's all about, operational excellence. And then the blue, which is trust, people, and team building. Do you have the right people sitting in the right seats? Are they an engaged team? Do they understand the mission of the business? Do they understand where you want to go? Are you operating as a team? Now, many of you know that I'm a big football fan. I'm sure all of you have been watching the football games here over the last few weekends. And you probably saw a comeback from the 49ers over the Detroit Lions. Sorry if I'm offending any people from the wonderful Motor City. But that was a phenomenal comeback. The only way that happened was by teams and, of course, a quarterback coordinating that team and driving it to success and a win. Team building. You have to have a team around you in order to achieve your excellence. Very, very important. All right, next slide, please. So creating an organization of value. So let's really talk about what that means, right? When I think of value, I think of a company that somebody else is jealous of. They want your company and are willing to pay you a premium for it. That's value. That's your biggest asset, other than maybe your home, is your business. Why not put effort into it? Build it for profitability. Create more profit. Keep the money in your business and pay yourself first. Spend money where you need to, but don't spend it foolishly just to do tax savings. I know that's crazy for some of you thinking of that. I'm a CPA. You should be thinking about trying to save taxes. Yes, of course. But don't spend money just to do a tax savings when it could hurt your cash flow down the line. So again, profitability. Scalability. You want to be able to scale your business so that it becomes more of just a one-person operation to multiple people. You want to be able to take that 4-week vacation to Hawaii, I hope, at some point during your journey and evolution of your business. And the last, sustainability. Sustainability meaning that you are proactive in how you manage your company. You're not reactive. You look at how I'm going to sustain it over a period of time so that it will have that value that somebody else will want to pay multiples for. Now, I talk about 8 key factors that a buyer will look at when they want to purchase a business. That is so very important to think about, though. One of those obviously is financial performance. We'll get into that in just a minute. But there's some other key areas. People is another one. Also, your stratification of your customers, your vendors. All of that makes an important element when someone is determining value. Next slide, please. So here's the magic formula. Again, I alluded to you earlier in this webinar how I came up with this, how I thought about what is it that really makes a great company. And here's your formula. So the percentage that you achieve in each one of these categories will determine your level of success. So let's say, for example, you achieve 80% based on our projections, and I'm talking about our consulting with you, based on our goals, our 90-day sprints, our annual goals, and how we measure ourselves against each of these 4 areas. So that percentage of marketing, let's use 80%, times finance, 80%, times operations, 80%, times people and team building equals your level of success. So the more you put effort into each 4 of these key elements and work with us to be able to achieve those goals that we set out, again, partnering with you on that journey is your level of success. We see it time and time and time again when we work with companies and apply each of these 4 areas in a business. So let's get down to a little bit more about what each of these elements are. So I alluded to the marketing. That's our first point of focus, right? It's that bullseye that you see, that red, meaning good luck. So marketing really is about passion. Marketing is just really about passion. It's sharing your passion. I'm sharing my passion with you right now. It's very important for you to understand who you are and what you want to convey to that client or that customer so that they will do business with you. You need to look about what's my mission statement, and this will go intertwined with so much else in the business, especially with your teams. Knowing your mission statement, where do you want to go? What things are you trying to address? What pain points do you want to address with your customers? The next is your defined key marketing message, and that's very specific. We talk about how to do that in the book, how to really lay it out. It's very important, not only externally for the customers you're trying to communicate, but also internally. Your people need to understand, what are you trying to convey? What's your marketing message? The third area is goals, and we talked about that already. What are your goals for your marketing? How much revenue do you want to generate? How much revenue do you want to allocate to your marketing expense so that you can continue to grow? And again, that goes down into what's my expected revenue? And the last point I think is very, very important. I think a lot of business owners don't really think about it. And that's in measure yourself against your competitors. Go out to your competitors' websites. Take a look, see what they're doing, attend their webinars. Go to, different venues where they might be there, understand and watch what they do. And then also look for industry benchmarks. Those are very, very important to measure yourself against. Again, it's a way to be able to improve your business and be able to scale it if you know what other competitors are doing well and what are they not doing so well, and capitalize on that. Now, Seth Godin, he's a marketing genius here. He talks about what people want is the extra, the emotional bonus they get when they buy something they love. I want to point out a very key word here, emotional. People buy on emotion and rationalize later. You, as marketing your business, no matter what industry it is, you need to know what the pain points of that business is and that business owner. If you understand those pain points and you address them in your marketing, you will be able to scale your business substantially. It's all about how you deliver that message and address those pain points. Now let's talk about the second point of focus, which is the green. Green means money, okay? Finance. We all have to have a good financial system. So Simon Sinek is one of my very favorite authors. If you've been on other webinars with me over the last 3 years, You've heard about Simon Sinek, I'm sure. He talks about the purpose of financial systems is not to make money. The purpose of our financial systems is to create an environment where people can pursue their dreams. People can pursue their dreams, both internal and external is the way I interpret that. Internal is that you create environments that people can expand and move within the business. And external, meaning you help companies expand their dreams and make more money. Excuse me. Now, why do we need a solid financial system? One is increased profitability and cash flow. You be able to maintain your cash flow. You got to be able to know what money is coming in, what money is going out. The second is it will improve your decision making. Think about it like this. Two scenarios. You have really bad books where you really don't know if you're making a profit or not. Now, honestly, I've seen quite a few of those. Or you've got a great set of financial statements that you know where every dollar is going and how much you're making in your net profit. Which scenario do you want? Scenario A or scenario B? I would hope you would say scenario B. Because your financial statements really do tell a story about your business. Now, there are three types of financial statements. I'm not going to get too geeky with you here, but I'll just go into them very lightly. And that is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet says what assets I own, what liabilities I owe, and the difference is your net worth. It's at a point in time. A good ratio that we use on our balance sheet is the working capital ratio. That's what banks look at. That's what buyers look at. If I have a ratio, and let me give you an example of working capital ratio. I have $1,000 in assets, let's say cash, of current assets. I have $1,000 of current liabilities, let's say a credit card. 1,000 divided by 1,000 is exactly break even. So that means I have exactly cash to pay off my debt and nothing else. But if I have a working capital ratio that's 7-to-1, 7 times assets to 1 time of liabilities, that is really, really good cash flow. That tells a bank you have the wherewithal to be able to pay off a loan. They will be more than willing to loan you money with that kind of ratio. The second is a buyer. So when a buyer looks at a working capital ratio that's 7-to-1, they're going to say, oh, I can get my return on my investment back when I invest in this company. If I were a buyer and I had a ratio of 7-to-1 or a ratio of 2-to-1, which company do you think I'm going to buy? And which company do you think, as the seller, you're going to get a premium on? Obviously, the 7-to-1. So the working capital ratio is very important. Do to take a look at your financial statements, do the calculation, and see where you sit. If it's not 3-to-1 or higher, you need to talk to us. I really encourage you to reach out to us because we can help you improve that ratio. The next one is the P&L, or the income statement is also known. So this shows your profits less your expenses and what your net profit is. Again, that's what money you put in the bank. That's your cash flow. That's the money you got to work with after you paid all of the bills, hopefully including yourself. Now, an income statement tells you the story over a period of time. What have I done over 6 months, 12 months, 24 months? It can also help you build what I call a rolling forecast, which is super important. And then the last one, which many business owners overlook, and is actually available in QuickBooks and other accounting systems, called the cash flow statement. Cash flow statement. What does it tell you? It should tell you just by the definition, cash flow. It tells you how you managed your cash. Where did your cash go? It's very important to take a look at that financial statement. If you're not doing it, please start doing it with your accountant and do the reviews. So those key ratios are very, very important. I mentioned the working capital ratio. There's also the gross profit margin ratio, the net profit margin ratio. Those are usually the three key ratios that we focus on first among everything else. Now, Jamie Dimon, he is actually the chairman and CEO of JP Morgan Chase. He said here, very, very importantly, a company's financial health is essential for its long-term success. A solid financial structure provides a company with the resources it needs to invest in growth, innovate, and weather economic conditions and downturns. Without a strong financial foundation, a company is at risk of failure. Now, going back to my example, Company A, bad records. Company B, good records. Which company do you want to be a part of? A company, obviously, in scenario B, with good records. So let's point out a couple of things in this quote here. Number one, long-term success, financial health. I'm going to go back to the word sustainability. You've got to be able to manage your cash flow so that you have sustainability over the period of time. We all have been business owners. We've had good times and there have been bad times. Probably the worst bad times we've had in the last 2 decades was in 2020, March of 2020, when everything shut down with COVID. Many companies did not make it because they were not prepared for an economic downturn. If you're not prepared now, please get prepared. You may be doing really well, but something may happen that you do not foresee. If you don't have that cash that's sitting in the bank to help you get through that, you run the risk of failure. So let's talk about the third point of focus, operational excellence. So again, Simon Sinek, operational excellence is not about doing things perfectly. It's about doing things consistently well, even when things are tough. It's about finding ways to improve every day, even if it's just a little bit. And it's about creating a culture of continuous improvement when everyone is committed to making things better. There's an awful lot impact here and embedded in this quote. For example, consistently well, continuous improvement. That's what operational excellence is all about. Doing the little things, focusing on the things first that matter. Having processes in place, having them well documented, and adjusting them and updating them when the need arises. So many business owners do not think that this is important. This is very important. Just running your business, let's say, for example, you have someone quits. All of that knowledge just walked away and out the door. Now you got to train somebody new how to do that particular job or position. The uptime for that person to learn their job is very high, or higher than what it could have been if you had documented the process. Or if you at least flow charted the process. We will help you do that. We're very good at what we do. This is my background for almost 2 decades in corporate, was to help document these processes. So when you think about what you need to do to have operational excellence, is you have to have a strategy of how you're going to develop it. The second is that you need performance management. You need to understand how I'm going to measure myself and measure my people. Third, process excellence, documentation. What's the standard for that? And fourth, most importantly, leadership and culture. The tone at the top is so very important. I alluded to the fact that we have a book called out, The Only Business Compass That You'll Ever Need, the North Star Strategic Partners 4 Points of Focus. I have the book here. It's my pre-read or my before publishing. It was actually published in early January of this month. But if you want to really understand how to document a process, I'm going to point to page 65 of the book. So 65 through really about 68 gives you everything you need to know how to start the process and what to do. It's very specific, and I think it would help you go a long way to get processes documented so that you don't have a fear of someone leaving a job and then having to get somebody new and not that person not knowing what they're doing. Plus, so when we talk about operations, if somebody, such as a buyer, wants to buy the company, if you have operations documented, that is like gold to a buyer. They're willing to pay more for a company when you document it. Up your point of focus. Have a plan. Have a focus plan. You want to be able to connect and integrate systems and processes. Have those documented. Again, the 3 Ps: process, people, programs, software, applications. Now, Jack Welch mentioned, if you're not constantly improving, you're slowly dying. I want you to think about that for just a second. It kind of makes sense. If you're not constantly improving, and remember Simon Sinek said, even just a little bit, doesn't have to be big. It can be little bit by little bit. You're not going to have a slowly dying company. You need to be able to document these processes and keep them moving and continuously improve. It will definitely drive more to your bottom line. Now, excuse me, let's talk about the 4th point of focus. People and team building. So it's the blue. The blue is all about trust. How do we trust other people to help us do our jobs? So if you get, again, Simon Sinek, if you hire people just because they can't do a job, they'll work for your money. And we have all seen that example. If you've been in business for a fair amount of time, we all know that that happens. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they'll work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And I myself, as a manager for over 25 years, I know that to be true. I've worked for some really great managers, just a couple. I've worked for a couple really bad managers, but most of them have been really mediocre. We're not taught it at university how to be a manager. You kind of have to learn it along the way, and hopefully you have a couple of mentors that will help you. But being a great manager means addressing things that help you and help your company. So there are 10 very important qualities of a highly functioning business team. I'm going to go over just a couple of them. But that, again, that's also in the book. Commitment. You want commitment from your people. A mission statement helps. Focus helps. But commitment from your people. They need leadership from you. Again, tone at the top. And one of the things that I value so much as a manager is respect. Respect. They have to respect you, just like you have to respect them. Another element is team player. And team players that can become leaders. Remember, I was talking to you about the football games that are occurring right now. We're going to have a Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. It's all about team playing. Teams make Super Bowls. So, on the next slide, let's talk about Oprah Winfrey. She's one of my very favorite people. A great leader is someone who sees the potential in people and gives them the opportunity to grow and develop. Grow and develop. That is your responsibility as the owner of a company. is to help your team grow and develop. The more you put energy into that, the more successful you're going to have to be because Simon says, right? Simon says, if you have the mentality where you care about your people, they will work for you with blood and sweat and tears. Not for your money, but they'll work for you because they want to work for you. They will build your company. So the Polaris, I alluded to that earlier in our discussion. I want to help every company that works with us find their North Star, their Polaris. So when you do find that Polaris, that ultimate dream has been achieved by you, you might be ready to exit, and that's okay. At some point in time, you might more than likely want to leave your business. Garner the value out of it that you have put so much time and effort to. So there's a couple of different strategies that you can do. One is initial public offering. Very few small business owners do this, but it can be done. This is where you take a company that's private and you bring it to the public trading markets, either the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, or maybe the Canadian Exchange, whatever. But it's a way to get the company in an exit strategy. Maybe you have that in your mindset. I would like to go IPO. Great, let's talk about it. There's different strategies that you can do to go IPO. The next is a merger or acquisition, which is more than likely the common way for private companies, is to be acquired or merged with an outright sale, perhaps as well. So a merger or an acquisition, right? So more times than not, you're probably going to see this as the main driver for the exit strategy. A third area is a management buyout. What I mean by management buyout means employee buyout. Your employees buy you out. You have some very key people that have been with you for many, many years, and you want to reward them. I talk about an exit strategy in the book and how Jack sold his company and what it took to do that. And the last one is one that you really don't want to do, but some business owners want to exit that way, and that's through liquidation. You're just tired. You don't want to sell the business. You just want to close it. And that's okay too. So let's talk about valuation methods. What if you want to sell your company? How do you determine what it's worth? So we use various valuation methods. There's the asset method, there's the revenue method, there's the market method. Other companies have been sold on the market. How much is that they sold for? So you do a valuation. It's very complex. And you either calculate what we call SDE, seller's discretionary earnings, or EBITDA, earnings before income tax, depreciation, and amortization. So those are elements in which we would then take and build a valuation for you to know what your company is worth. Now, when would you want to sell? So this is not an all-encompassing answer. So sometimes it's just a gut check. It's time. I need to sell. Or it might be an event that's happened in your life that you need to sell. Or it could be the economy. Or perhaps maybe you've reached your goal and you said, yes, this is the value I think my company is worth. I'm ready to sell it. Or somebody comes along and says, I really love your product. I really love your service. I want to buy your company, and it's an offer you can't refuse. So John Warlow, he's a wonderful guy, right? He's from the Value Builder, right? He says a business is not just an asset. It's a collection of relationships, processes, and systems that create value. The best businesses are built to sell. They're designed to be easy to understand, operate, and transform to a new owner. Now, I want to bring out a couple of things in this quote: relationships, processes, and systems. We talked about all three of those today. The one thing he doesn't talk about is financial, but that's a key component. So if you think about it, everything we talked about today, marketing, finance, operations, and people are the components you need to sell a company. Now, what are your next steps? Obviously, if you want to know more about the 4 points of focus, order our book. It's online. It's not very expensive. You can get it either by paperback or in Kindle. The audio version will be coming out here in about 2 to 3 weeks, so you can get it there on Amazon in audio. Here's the QR code. It'll take you right to the checkout for Amazon. We do, and if you have any questions about it, or if any questions with this presentation, reach out to me. I always give a 30-minute free consult to see if you might be a good fit for us. We're very particular about who we work with, but I want to make sure that it's a good fit for everybody so everyone wins. And then if you are so inclined and you want to work with us on the 4 points of focus and implementing it, again, reach out with me. I'd be more than happy to have a consult with you. Now, here's our services. So I will go through all of those. It's a coaching, cash flow management, evaluation for your business, CFO services. If you need those, with accounting services, we offer all of those things. And if you want to get in contact with me or with anybody on the staff, here's our information. Reach out to us at info@northstar-sp.com. You can feel free to take a picture of this. You can call us on the phone to schedule that 30-minute call, whatever you wish to reach out to us. We will have a new website going up here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a full schedule of all of our presentations. The next presentation, which we will then start dissecting the book. We have that over the next year up through November. And we're going to be talking about marketing. We're going to be doing a deep dive, and I'm going to be having a guest speaker to talk about what marketing is all about and how we address that within the book and how you can address it. So that will be on February the 27th at 1 p.m. We always do our webinars on the last Tuesday of every month, with the exception of November, of course, with the Thanksgiving holiday at 1 p.m. So join us again for the next one coming up in February 27th at 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about marketing. So with that, thank you for watching, and I'll be open to any questions that we have right now.
Perfect. We have a couple of questions that came in today, Wendy. The first one is, this is a good one. What industries do you work with?
That's a great question. The 4 points of focus really is industry agnostic, as those of you on the call probably figured out. I do like working with companies in certain areas, such as construction and related fields like interior design, architects. Franchises is a great one. Professional services, sports and entertainment facilities. We like to work with them. So all of those areas I think are really good for us to focus on. But the 4 points of focus really is appropriate for any industry. And if you are a business owner out there, as you guys know, my passion is to help other business owners achieve their dreams, their North Star, reach out to me and let's see if we're a good fit.
Thank you. And another question is, can North Star help me sell my business? If so, what are the next steps?
Okay. So we would be, in order to sell a business, we need to do an evaluation for you. So I would suggest, if you want to sell your business, start working with us about 18 to 24 months out to prepare your business to achieve its greatest value before you actually put it up for sale. And then we'll work with an M&A advisor or a business broker to actually get your company listed for sale. But you need to prepare for it. Not only do you need to look at it from a tax perspective as to what's the tax best benefit that you can get and not have to pay a bunch of taxes, but also what are you going to do with that money after you receive the money? How's it going to be structured? Is it going to be an outright sale? Are you going to carry paper? What, is it a stock sale? Is it an asset sale? So all of those things really need to be kind of formulated out before you ever get to the point that you want to list your business for sale. So we can help you work through all of those dynamics and get the best value possible for you as you move on to that next chapter.
Thank you so much. And those are the questions that we have for today, Wendy.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Hope to see you next time, February 27th at 1 p.m. And with that, we hope you have a very wonderful day. Thank you again for attending. We appreciate your time. Bye-bye.